This is Balance of Power on Bloomberg Television and Radio. I'm David Westin. It's not the first time the United States is so focused on its own problems that it overlooks what's going on to the north of us. And so, as we report every day on the pandemic and lockdowns and vaccine development in the United States, we tend not to hear much about the situation in Canada. So we welcome today Global Affairs Analyst Michael Bociurkiw for a report on COVID-19 in Canada. Michael, it's always great to have you on with us. Give us a sense of the state of the COVID-19 up in Canada right now.
Sure. Good to be back on with you, David. Well, look, a few months ago, Canada was doing nothing less than crushing the curve. And I mean it. We had cases down to triple digits. Now we're looking at about an average of 5,000 cases a week. Now, that's not much compared to 160,000 in the U.S., but Canada was doing really well. We went into long lockdowns. We listened to our government. We got a lot of support so we could stay at home. But that now all seems to be evaporating. And the big kind of breaking news, David, from last week was that Canadians were told for the very first time that the majority of us, that's 50% plus, may not be vaccinated until the end of 2021, December 2021. Now, that's months after people in other G7 countries like the U.S., Germany, United Kingdom. And of course, the big reason for that is you and other G7 countries have your own domestic vaccine production. So vaccines will be distributed there first. But Canada, David, used to have that capacity, but under successive governments, it wasn't put back in. So we're really on a weak footing right now. And by the way, I was just on the WHO press conference in Geneva, and I put it to them, is there any excuse for countries not being ready for a coming pandemic in terms of vaccine production, PPE vaccinations? And they said, no, it's not like nature wasn't telling us not to get ready.
Well, Justin Trudeau, your prime minister, is not alone in this. A lot of political damage is being done to leaders around the world. But what's the reaction right now? Are they blaming the prime minister?
Yeah, the prime minister, some people call him the Teflon prime minister. He survived many scandals. You may remember SNC-Lavalin, the wheat charity scandal, trips with Aga Khan. Those have all kind of floated into the background. But I think because right now Canadians, like in many countries, are at the end of their tether, the economy is really having a tough time surviving under COVID, that we thought the light at the end of the tunnel would come even as soon as the end of this year, beginning of next year. And I think, personally, this is going to be very damaging potentially to the Prime Minister when that split screen happens of Americans getting vaccinated, perhaps in the next few weeks, in the United Kingdom, Germany, possibly even Mexico, India, whereas Canadians are sitting at home under lockdowns, waiting for that vaccine to come. Now, I should say we are getting about 6 million doses, probably in January, but that will be consumed very quickly by the most vulnerable and frontline healthcare workers.
So, Michael, as you know, we've got a new president coming into office January 20. Joe Biden will be coming in. As Canada looks south to this transition here, what do you hope or want out of a President Biden?
Sure. Well, when the results were announced, I think you could hear the ground shaking in Canada from everyone hopping up and down. It was very well received because, look, President Trump was very insulting to our prime minister, and Canadians don't like that coming from a U.S. president. Trump called him very dishonest and weak, and Mr. Cuddle, I believe, said Trudeau, there's a place in hell for anyone like Trudeau insulting Trump. But the other thing that was happening, White House under Trump oversaw surprise duty applications on multiple trade commodities, from steel to aluminum, squeezed Ottawa really hard on that free trade negotiation. And also we had that partial untangling of our highly integrated supply chain between Canada and the U.S. So what we're looking for really is a couple of things, restore a sense of civility to the bilateral relationship. We're looking forward to having the U.S. back on the world stage, defending a rules-based international order, getting back into those accords like the Paris Accord, because climate change is something we both share a lot of. We got all of that smoke up here, too, from those forest fires in Washington, Oregon, and California. And then but we're not, sorry, David, there's one more thing, the Keystone XL pipeline. That is a worrying cloud that Biden opposes expansion of Keystone XL. And Albertans in our oil-producing province see that as key to economic recovery. So that may not happen. But then the other thing is we're not naive. We know that the election wasn't a robust repudiation of Trumpian sensibilities. So we're not expecting a complete reset back to the Obama years.
Just a little civility. But as a practical matter, that pipeline could really be a sticking point.
Yeah, the Alberta economy was really hurting beforehand because of the drop in oil prices. And now because of COVID, cities like Calgary, which is kind of our Houston, is really, really suffering. And the federal government is spending a lot to prop up the provinces, but with Alberta in such bad shape and with, by the way, record high COVID numbers, very difficult to bail them out.
Michael, always a treat to get to talk to you. Thank you so much. That's Global Affairs Analyst Michael Bociurkiw. Coming up, Balance of Power continues on Bloomberg Radio. In our second hour, we're going to talk to bioethicist Art Kaplan of NYU Langone about how we're going to prioritize who gets the vaccine once it's available here in the United States. This is Balance of Power on Bloomberg Television and on radio.